I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, July the 31st. And Chicago Cattle Company was something that kind of come up today, talking with some people, as Chicago's not in your 5-area feeding region, but it's going to have more to do with where your fat cattle trade this week, more than any place that has a show list or has cattle ready. We've got such a gap here. The basis, as we're moving middle of this week into the spot month, we're sitting here with a basis of well over $3, and we're going to see what happens. But it's going to be hard to gain any ground, even though we feel like we've got a little bit ahead of steam in your cash market. But with lack of support on the board, it's just going to be hard to get any more money than what we have right now. So right now we're kind of looking at steady as maybe a victory, and getting close to that maybe being what we have to settle for. But you look at the board on Monday, October live cattle futures down 67 cents to end the day at 109.80. Your spot August, as we're going to move into this week here, the middle of the week, down 20 cents on Monday to start out the week at 108.42, and we have a weighted average on last week's trade at 111.73. And we're in the time of the year where we normally don't see a lot of basis. We usually see it running really tight, and sometimes even a negative basis. But October feeder cattle down at 97 cents on Monday to end the day at 151.77. Your August was down 80 cents at 151.50, and I just feel like that has to be from continued thoughts of the government and the Trump administration supporting your row crops and sales of beans and soybeans and corn. But it's not really helping your Chicago Board of Trade out at all, but it's hurting your CME cattle futures. Let's look at your weighted average on last week's fat cattle trade on kind of a minimal trade of 64,000, just kind of what they needed to get by on, but didn't do anything all week long, not until Friday after hours, and traded pretty much everything live basis at 112. Of course, there's always some off sales, but your weighted average in your 5-area feeding region was 111.73, down 88 cents, but as a whole number down a buck lower than the previous week. Your dress trade was not as good, but didn't see near as much trade on a dress basis. 176 to 177 is about all they could ever squeeze out of the dress market. That would be $3 to $4 lower on a light test, but on the weighted average it ended up being 176.22, which was $2.78 lower on the weighted average than the previous week's weighted average. But we maybe do have the Packers short bought again, but they kind of had a feeling and knew that there was not going to be any support on the board. That's why they didn't buy any more cattle in that last week, thinking that they can maybe gain a buck or two back from the market this week. But we'll just have to see how things play out. But like I said, Chicago is going to play a lot bigger role in what your fat cattle bring this week than anybody in the 5-area feeding region. Not a lot to talk about here on this early week visit, so I wanted to talk about the Superior video sale that's being held this week, the Video Royale. Monday's sale was in Fort Worth at the main home base there, but then later in the week, Wednesday through Friday, it'll be in Winnemucca, Nevada, with a lot of Western cattle on sale there. But thought I'd give you a couple of quotes out of Texas. Even though it's a big state, we don't have a lot of sale barn coverage there. Not a lot of big high volume markets in Texas, but couple of stick out sales on the Video Royale on the Monday sale. The first one off the J1 Ranch in Athens, Texas. Some program cattle there. You don't have to be in western Nebraska or in the Sand Hills to get the big price on the program cattle. Or you don't have to be up in Montana and have Canadian buyers buying them. But NHTC cattle and verified natural cattle, some black and solid red cattle, 120 head of yearling home-raised feeder steers there off the J1 Ranch outside of Athens, Texas there, for current delivery August 6th through the 15th. weigh 825 pounds at 159.50. That's a pretty good click right there. Give you a quote on some peewee calves that'll probably end up eating some wheat if it continues to get some spotty rains in the Texas Panhandle and around. But OCC and Wagner Cattle Company and growing yard cattle south of Dimmitt, Texas, down here in the southern parts of the Texas Panhandle. But 260 head of long-time weaned, shipped in light crossbred calves from East Texas, all steers. Their delivery is going to be August 5th through 10th. It'd be a whole lot better if they could wait another month or something to take delivery of those, because there's not going to be any other place to put them until we get some wheat up in this part of the country. There's sure not any grass to support very many calves, but 260 weaned calves there, weaned steer calves, 375 pounds with a weight stop at 400 pounds. Most all those calves are blacks and Charolais Cross or Smokies. In the growing yard, 2 loads of them, 375 pounds, $222. So that's pretty good market on some light grazers right there. Let's look at some on-site sales. Your real-time index on Beef Market Central late in the day on Monday, 148.39, down just 30 cents from where it ended last week. Oklahoma City had a lighter run, 5,600 head there. I told you your early week high volume feeder auctions would be hard to move them off steady, and it was. Feeder steers and heifers run evenly steady. The calf market was $3 to $5 higher at a light test. Joplin had 5,900 head, mostly steady on everything there except for some yearling heifers, which sold $2 to $4 higher. Don't forget, Joplin's got another big primetime video this Thursday at 1 o'clock. You can watch that on primetime, the website, or you can go to dvauction.com and get on that bidding console, and you can view and bid those cattle 1 o'clock Thursday on the primetime video. Individual quote on Monday come out of Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky. 63 head of 866 pound steers bring $151.90. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.